All right, welcome, my beautiful warriors of love. Today we're going to be talking about all things Tantra, all things sexual related, all things relationship related. We're going to be talking about abundance. We're going to be talking about your life purpose. We're going to be talking about mental health. We're going to be talking about anxiety. We're going to be talking about the state of the world as a reflection of our own internal state. So, first of all, thank you for being here. How are you feeling? Um, yeah, Pisces season is real. So all the sensitivity and emotions and vulnerability, it's beautiful. So what we're going to get out of today's call is just I'm going to summarize with you guys a lot of the wisdom and information that I've learned being in a sacred union, being a very potent relationship that I came out of a few months ago, being in it for a whole year. So learning communication tools, inner child wounds, how to not take things personally, how to communicate with nonviolence. We're going to be talking about all that I've learned in the last little while about Tantra, meaning how can you become more empowered as a woman or a man? How can you create more attraction? How can you honor your inner divine feminine? How can you honor your divine masculine? What's the difference between the two? How do you know when you're imbalanced or too much in one area? We can do some hot seats if you guys have specific challenges you're going through in these areas. We can potentially do a hot seat about that. I'm going to share with you guys a music video. It's been in the making for like a year now. It's called Me, Myself, and I. I'm curious to know who here has heard Me, Myself, and I. It's one of the last songs I recorded last year. It was about it is about mental health, addictions, depression, entity attacks, spiritual warfare, and it's me and my most Piscean. So my birthday is like in 10 days, and I'm cusp Pisces Aries, and also my moon's in Pisces. So that Piscean side I noticed is most evident in this song. So we just put out a video, and I might share it with you guys here before we put it out for the rest of the world. So that's just an extra added bonus. If you guys are on Instagram, try to hop over to YouTube and type in Tariq BB so you can see my screen when I share the video. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay on IG. And then for everyone else, just wanting you to know, hey, Denise, good to see you here. So excited for this event start and magnetically attract my heart's desires into my life now. What is best for me at this time? So it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that, Denise. And you sent that at 555. Hello, Facebook users. Sorry, there's no names here, but if you click on the StreamYard link, it'll then show me your name. Can't hear anything, but is it subtitled? Can you guys hear me okay? That would be hilarious if this whole time I was talking. Oh. Yes. This should be better. Can you, Vero, can you let me know if you can you verify if you can hear me? How about now, Heather? I just changed something. Let me know if this is any better. Beautiful, Denise. Thank you. Yes, there is going to be a replay, Vero. You can check it out on YouTube. And just for you guys to know, we're really wanting to do Zoom calls. I feel like Zoom calls are so interactive. We can see your faces. We can do hot seats. But the reason we're still using StreamYard is because all of you guys are in different places. So Heather and Denise are watching on YouTube. Vero is watching on Facebook. And then we've got people on Instagram. So the best thing you guys can do is go to tariqbb.com. And when you sign up there, then we'll invite you guys to the Zoom calls. And there's so many amazing things we share with you guys on the newsletter as well, including weekly free healing videos. You're like dubbed. Your mouth continues after a stop. Okay. Is there a delay when I'm talking, guys? Can you confirm that? I'm just going to go ahead and move forward with this. Hey, IG fam, Crafty Mom 94. Good to have you here. You can hear me clearly. Beautiful. Yeah, the phone IG is going to be different than elsewhere. Shelly Terry 53. Good to have you here. Perfect, Heather. Thank you. Okay, So let's get into it. So starting now, I invite you guys to rub your hands together, get that energy going and flowing. You could place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and do whatever you do to connect with your guides, your angels. Beautiful. And let's take a moment to connect to the light even more strongly. So imagine a waterfall pouring down, top of your head, down your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your fingers, your heart, your power center, your sacral, your stomach area, your lower back, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your ankles, your feet, and from your feet going down to the core of Mother Earth, allowing us to be grounded and to flush out anything that found its way into our field that is not of the divine blueprint, and grounding our reality fully back into our ultimate timeline. And starting now, do you surrender this whole entire experience to the highest aspect of yourself? If you like that, just say yes. And anything stopping you from receiving or releasing the maximum, would you like to clear that? Hey, Monica. Beautiful. You can just say yes to that. Okay. So please put in the comments, what are your number one questions when it comes to sexuality, Tantra, relationships? And I'll do my best to answer them. So the first thing I want to share is getting clear on your non-negotiables. So clarity equals empowerment. I would write this down. Clarity equals empowerment. When you go into a relationship and you go, this is what I'm looking for, number one, it's sexy. And then it's empowering because you know exactly what you're looking for. When you don't know what you're looking for, that's when we get into trouble because we're not clear on what we're wanting. And if you're not sure what you want, you can start by getting clear about what you don't want. Otherwise, we're going to keep repeating the same cycle, same relationships. So when you look back at your previous relationships, what are some of your non-negotiables or your red flags? So let's take a moment to write those down. I'm attracting or I am in a relationship with my ultimate life partner, and the qualities that we share are, so what do you need in your relationship in terms of what's most important? Communication for me is one of my non-negotiables. I cannot build in a relationship without a foundation of strong, open, healthy communication. If we're not open, if we're not communicating openly, if we're bottling things in, if we're not sharing things that are coming up for us, it's hard to build off of that. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't know what to do about the spottiness. I literally moved to a new Airbnb to solve the internet problem and it's still doing that. So I really don't know what else to do, guys. Okay. So sorry guys, I'll see what I can do on my end. So what are examples of your non-negotiables? I'd love to hear that. So communication, what are you needing in terms of communication? One of the number one things couples, like one of the biggest divisive factors right now is the COVID thing. So where are you at? Is it a non-negotiable for you if they are vaccinated or non-vaccinated? Do you guys share the same mindset when it comes to that? Because that has become a very divisive thing. Couples who have been together for the longest time, when this stuff came out, it split some of those couples in half. Sad. But those are values. So knowing your values can save you so much time and energy in the future. So what's really beautiful now, when you have this clarity, you can like look at a profile if you're doing online dating or just meet someone and literally right off the bat go, What are some of your values? How are you with communication? What do you do for a living, right? For me, I feel it's been 13 years of getting clear on my purpose and working as a spiritual entrepreneur. So for me, one of the things I'm attracting is someone who's on a similar wavelength when it comes to similar paradigm with the finances, similar entrepreneurial minded, right? Beautiful. So these are and then with qualities, you can get clear on what qualities you're looking for. So passion, compassion, someone who's done a lot of the work, right? So sometimes a lot of empaths attract others that are like broken or narcissistic. So we really want to break that cycle. And even though it's feeding some part of us, it's like there's a nurse inside of us that gets really fulfilled from helping others. But it's really important to distinguish the difference between this person is coming to my life because they're needing my support, or we're both going to help each other, and compare that to, oh, this person's coming to my life as a whole and complete being, and I'm a whole and complete being, and we're both going to be in each other's lives from an empowered place. So you really want to watch out for the traps that empaths have. So sometimes I realize, oh, that person needs to be a client. That's not meant to be in I mean, like, I have a really good relationship with my clients. They're soul family. So another thing I learned is to distinguish, oh, I'm attracted to this person because I feel I'm meant to be of service to them, compared to I'm attracted to this person because I called her in as a life partner. So non-negotiables could be, where are they at financially? Where are they at when it comes to knowing their life purpose? Have they done enough work on themselves, right? So I would write down these questions because they're really important. Because if someone is not taking the time to do a lot of inner work, and something comes up and a trigger comes up, and it's just like explosions and victim mindset and like shadows that they're not wanting to face. So for me, it's not about calling in someone who's perfect. There's no such thing, but calling someone in who can go, you know what, I've been working on this a lot. Like, what I loved about the vulnerability and the depth of work that I did is when I meet someone, I'm like, hey, these are the things I'm struggling with. And, I have these things. And they're like, oh, yeah, you knew that. You said it. And it happened. There's no shock. Now, obviously, the work becomes like, anyway, so how much work have they done on themselves? And then another important area is shadow work. How deep did they go into shadow work? Because if there's zero even acknowledgement of their shadow, and then the shadow pops up, it could really sabotage the relationship. So do they have their egos in check, or is the ego running the show? Because if the ego is running the show, then that could be a problem. That could sabotage the whole relationship. Beautiful. And I'm sharing this, guys, because a lot of us don't get very clear. We're not very specific. We're not very clear. It's fine to be general. And then it could lead to problems in the future. But when we are clear at the beginning, we can go right off the bat like, okay, seems like this could work, or, oh, based on those answers, it might not work. So Denise says, Iman, in a relationship with my life partner with healthy, open communication, loyalty, respect, couple time, friend time, alone time, love, empathy, understanding, caring, peace, tranquility. Beautiful. Crafty mom, communication and trust, huge. So here's a tricky thing, guys. Everything that's unresolved will come up in the relationship. So there's a difference between they're not trustworthy compared to trust was coming up for me. So we really need to distinguish, because the very things, dad abandoned me when I was a kid, mom wasn't there for me, those things will play out if we don't do the work. So it's not about will they play out, it's once they play out, how will I react differently? How are we going to react when our stuff comes up? Sometimes it's healthy to talk it out. Sometimes talking it out is creating more drama. So we really need to get clear once we've gotten clear on our values, on the qualities that we're looking for in a relationship, on our non-negotiables, right? Like for me, I like people who are wanting to learn, evolve, grow continuously, right? So I want to learn and grow and evolve with them. Um, so it makes a difference to be clear. Yes, truth, happiness, healthy, happy, fulfilling family with his career. Beautiful. So another good tool is knowing the relationship with with the masculine, with the feminine, with mom, with dad, right? I love getting deep right off the bat because it really just shares the vulnerability, the transparency. And if you're leading with that, like, hey, these are the things I'm working on, it really allows the vulnerability for them to be open as well. You want to know what kind of stuff they're struggling with, addictions, mental health. We all have something somewhere on the spectrum, I feel. And it's really helpful to know so you know what you're getting yourself into, right? Boundaries are super important in a relationship. Hey, I need some space right now. I need a moment to be with myself. And if you're not able to get that, then there might be a boundary issue. Are your boundaries being clearly communicated? So we have all sorts of boundaries: mental, spiritual, energetic, financial, sexual, right? So what are your boundaries in a relationship? Like for me, I need space to pull back and sleep in my own space. It's a very important boundary, and I'm happy to meet someone halfway and do like half. But I noticed I lose myself. My Piscean side just like delves into the person I'm with, and I lose myself in the relationship sometimes. So it's important to retreat, regroup in my own energy, and then come back. Space outside of the relationship. It's really important that we continue nurturing our soul relationships, soul family, soul tribe. Excuse me. And not lose everything in the relationship. It's important to go, hey, I can do everything with my partner. And I know the more I'm creating healthy space, the more there's the attraction, right? The attraction grows stronger when there's space to miss the person. You don't want to reach that point where you're like, oh, I just need to get out of this house, right? So how do you maintain that? I mean, in the old days, we lived in communities, so the women would get together and do their women's circle stuff and support each other that way. So you have the whole, women have that psychic connection. You don't even need to ask what you want. They kind of just feel it, know it, and support each other that way. Or you just feel more comfortable asking for what you need with a group of women. So I feel like we're headed in that direction for those who are riding that, living close with like-minded people. Energy. Hey, Monica, I don't understand WER. What is that? And men used to get together and support each other and go hunting together, building together, and they get their stuff out that way and connect that way. And it's really important for men to be around men and for women to be around women, and for us to all come together in soul tribe and soul family. So with Tantra, what I would share is definitely shadow work. So how does your shadow aspect play out in a relationship? Like, what are some of the core wounds that play out in the relationship? Are you communicating openly when things come up? So unhealthy communication is, you made me feel ... That's victim communication. That means you're giving your power away, and your ego is trying to blame the other person. It's really important we take responsibility for what we're co-creating in our relationships. So The nonviolent way of communicating that is when you walked away in the middle of our conversation, I felt ... So, but you made me do this, blame energy, cut that out, put that in check. Another healthy tool is to ask your partner to call you out, or um, as Michelle, a woman I was in a relationship with for a year, taught me the word "call you in" instead of "call you out." Feels like shamey. Call you in is bringing you back into your power, into your awareness. So have someone call you in. Like, well, even with friends, I'm like, hey, if I have blind spots, please communicate it. We got to get over the fear of I want to be with someone who wants to be called out when they're not, when they want their ego checked, and someone who will call me out. I want someone who will teach me, call me out when I'm not in my heart. And I want someone who can receive that as well. The next thing you want to learn is how to communicate that. Once you've gotten consent, hey, can I share? Is it okay for me to share things that have come up? You want to find out what's the best way to communicate. Some signs out there are super blunt. Aries are known to be blunt as fuck. So I don't know how to do it the sugarcoating indirect way. I only know how to, I see it and I call it how I see it. Capricorns also are very blunt. You want honest feedback, go to Capricorn, go to an Aries, they'll tell you how it is. Whereas a lot of other people have been brought up believing that telling someone uncomfortable truths is not healthy, or it's we're so afraid of confronting, and we're not responsible for how other people's egos respond to what we're sharing from our hearts as what we perceive to be true. We're not responsible for babysitting other people's egos. So how someone else's egos take something, that's not our responsibility. You're just responsible to express your truth. And sometimes you can test people, like you share your truth. Can they handle your truth? And if they can't handle your truth, why would you continue to share it? Right? Hey, Angie. I was just talking about Aries energies. Soul Awakening Sandra, good to have you here. I'm an Aries who can be blunt, but knows how to temper it. Amazing, crafty mom. So good. Heather, abandonment issues. Anita, I put them away before they can leave. I'm working on healing grief from losing my partner to cancer and all the other male figures in my birth family. Thanks for sharing that. Queen Dawn, peace. Thank you for reminding me of this. You're very welcome, Melissa. So, here's another secret. Speaking of Aries, one of the best lessons I've learned while I was in a magic mushroom ceremony, which is my go-to plant medicine. I really love just fasting, setting intentions, trying to go to nature or stay at home, and taking some magic mushrooms. I'm going to do a YouTube video because people are asking me how I've been doing it, because it's like one of the first videos I put out on YouTube and it went viral back in the days about my magic mushroom ceremony, but it cut out while I was filming it. So, and one of the lessons was I got triggered because I felt someone was rejecting me. So my rejection wounds came up. So instead of sharing the vulnerability of what was going on, Queen Dawn, you love mushrooms too? Amazing. Sharing the vulnerability is what I learned. So, because I snapped in the conversation. We're on mushrooms, the worst time to snap. But I just felt like the magic mushroom was like, here's the tricky thing, guys. So in that scenario, I experienced this woman kind of turn her back towards me, just talk to my friend. When I started talking to my friend, I felt like she came in the middle of it. So I just felt very controlled or suppressed or manipulated, or whatever the feeling was. Like I didn't feel this open inclusivity. I know that's my core wound. So I know it's going to play out in several times. So in many different scenarios. So it's really important that like we get clear on what are the patterns that keep playing out, because if we're clear on the patterns that keep playing out and we can communicate them to our partners, then when they come out, there's less of that victim. There's already an awareness of, oh, it's that thing again. Like I tell people I'm in a relationship with to say these specific words. If they just say, hey, Tark, you're doing that thing again, it's going to trigger, it's like a safety word. It's going to trigger me to bring myself into awareness, to remember, oh, I'm doing that thing again, where I'm getting defensive because I think I'm being blamed, because it takes me back to some childhood trauma. So it's important to let your partner in on your stuff. It's important for you to know going into a relationship, it's all going to be mirrored to you. And it's not about we want to stop these things from coming up. We just want to react in a different way. Or we don't want to react. We don't want to be reactive. So what I learned from that magic mushroom ceremony, and I've been doing it ever since, instead of like reacting from a place of, even if your mind perceives everything as being manipulative and they're out to get you and they're doing things with ill intent to hurt you, even if they're doing that consciously or subconsciously, you can still use the power of sharing the vulnerability. So, hey, I just want to share, when you did that, I felt ... Right? Sometimes you can preface that with, is it okay if I share something that's coming up for me? That way you're getting consent from the other person. It's inclusive and you can just share what's coming up. Sometimes it's not healthy to communicate because you're just ready. It's like the trigger, it depends on the intensity of the emotion that's getting triggered. If it's a 10 out of 10 intensity and the emotion is like anger, rage, maybe it's best to just walk away from the situation, just scream it out. It's so healthy to express your emotions fully. A lot of us are like, nope, can't express emotions, must bottle it in because I don't want to be a bad person to the person next to us. But guess what? I could just be over here and go, I am so frustrated. That's totally cool. In one of the Tantra retreats I went to, shout outs to Sapphira, like she just shared all her emotions, all her raw emotions. The lesson of that exercise was to show us, look, a man can hold space for you and you can share all your emotions, the rage, the anger, the frustration. So that's another beautiful exercise to practice with your partner or with friends. Can I share? So when I just shared, I'm frustrated, it's beautiful to share it. What's the unhealthy way of doing that is, oh my God, Denise, I'm so frustrated with your comments. It's like you'll use something outside of you. I'm just using that as an example of someone who's like just looking outside of themselves, Denise, and just trying to blame something outside of them. So that's the ego. It's not a bad thing. It's the way the ego survives. It doesn't want to look inwards, so it tries to put it outwards. So it's about loving our ego because it's a very delicate protective mechanism, right? But we want someone who can call us in when we're acting from that place. So there's the healthy way to do it, and the unhealthy way is just to dump it. So you don't want to dump on your partner. You can just like walk away, go to a room, and just get out all the anger and frustration that's underneath there. Any questions? Love mushrooms, but need to find a reliable source. Yeah, Heather, I definitely recommend finding people who grow it themselves or just like pick it yourself, or people who pick it. My first healing experience with mushrooms, I saw a rainbow, geometrical shapes, and hearts. Beautiful. I'm an Aries who can be blunt, but knows how to temper it. Oh yeah, read that. Beautiful. So the next thing I want to communicate about, how is this so far? Is this helpful? Is this speaking directly to your experience? Because I'm trusting in the Piscean flow that I'm channeling right now. I saw a tree and I became the trunk. Oh my God, trees on mushrooms. I have to tell you guys this story sometime. Trees are so powerful. Like we really don't know how powerful trees are. and maybe I had a lifetime in the fairy realm at some point. But I remember just being in my unconscious days, because I remember we started with weed, then we drank alcohol, then we did mushrooms. So I was like mixing so much. I just watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and they just do every drug on the planet. And I was like, that sounds like a cool idea. Being in Aries, I'm like, I like extreme things. But anyways, at night, it was just all these like dark demonic spirits. And I just found my way running to a place where there was a bunch of trees. And I literally held a tree on my right, tree on my left. And I was just like, nothing could harm me in that moment. These beings, these entities that were trying to haunt me, it was like an impenetrable field, force field. It's so powerful. Oh, Denise, you're a Pisces. Cool. When's your birthday? Because it's a 10-day countdown or 9-day countdown to Aries season. Beautiful. I love Pisces. Okay, so how is this landing with you guys? Any questions? Is it helpful? The next biggest challenge when it comes to relationships, this is a worldwide issue. It's apparently also connected to the cycle that we're in astrologically. So women are very in their masculine. This is not a judgment. This is an observation. This is a general observation going to men and women circles in Australia, New Zealand, States, Canada, even here in South America, or sorry, Mexico, which is not, is it South America? It's not. Central America. Aries season, the countdown begins. Oh, Heather, March 2nd. Beautiful. Happy belated birthday. Oh, Denise. Oh, wait, March 2nd. So, Heather, your birthday's coming up. No, wait, we are in March. Sorry. Happy belated birthday. And Denise, happy belated birthday. There you go. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate your vulnerability and openness, because it's not about judgment. It's about observation. Because if we are in an imbalanced place right now, there's a lot of men who are too much, especially spiritual men, too much in the feminine side, too much of the feminine, and women are too far into the masculine. So it's a general statement, and it's unhealthy, because it's really, tune in right now. I want all the women on the call to tune in, and all the men on the call to tune in and see intuitively, where would you feel you are? I feel I'm pretty balanced. Like I have a lot of masculine traits, which is the Aries side, but I also have a lot of feminine traits, which is the Piscean side. And I grew up with seeing some toxic masculine behaviors that made me suppress my own inner masculine energies. And as I've been doing this kind of work in the Tantra world, in the healing world, spiritual world, I found that, blessed, I love all those beautiful feminine qualities of being nurturing. And my North Node is in Cancer, which is like the divine mother. So I definitely have those qualities. I feel very fulfilled doing that. I love like mothering the crap out of my clients and my audience and you guys. And I have that masculine energy that's like, let's get it done, is the action taker inside of us. So think of the qualities of the feminine as the creativity, going with the flow, you're embodied, you're nurturing. And think of the masculine, your being, right? Spiritual practices, dancing, singing. And then think of the masculine qualities as the logic. So it's when you're thinking logically, and it's when you're taking action, parts of you that help you take action. So we all have those in us. We all have men and women. If you guys believe in past lives, I facilitated past life regressions at several events where there was tons of people. We've been men, women, everything. We've been everything for the most part. So thank you, Heather. So when you tune in, thank you, Melissa. I love that you said that, receiving. So receiving is a very feminine quality. Receptivity. Think of a flower that like opens up and then the bee comes and like pollinates the flower, right? What is the feminine doing to receive that? She's just opening up and being, right? I know there's a lot of stuff in that in the new age, just open up, allow, be. There is an unhealthy version of that, and there's a very powerful version of that, especially when you're too much in the masculine. So to make the polarity and the attraction happen, like a man innately, the masculine in us innately wants to provide for the feminine, wants to be the giver and the doer. And there's this beautiful symbiotic flow that happens when I can be the masculine in a friendship or relationship, meaning I'm opening the door, you're walking through it. I'm deciding, hey, we're going to this place for dinner. I took the time to plan the whole weekend, plan this whole experience. I even ordered sometimes I'll like be in super masculine mode. I'm like, I already ordered for us. And they're like, sometimes women are like, they could just drop into their feminine, because part of not having to figure out everything, like women are like, okay, kids and school and food and work and this and that. And it's like all this stuff in the head, right? So to have an experience where the masculine can show up and go, hey, I'm gonna like give you a mental vacation right now, a vacation on all levels. You don't need to think about anything. Trust my flow, trust my leadership. Obviously, you're being discerning with who you're letting in, and you're listening to your intuition. And if something doesn't feel right, you can also just give suggestions. But it's so beautiful to allow the man to lead. It doesn't mean there's a lot of judgments towards that, especially with there's like a shadow aspect to the feminist movement, which is like, oh, I don't need a man to lead. We're equal, right? Or all these disempowering beliefs. It's also there, like, it really helped create the problems that we're in now, where a lot of women are too much in the masculine. So what can we do is just allow that energy of allowing, tune into how much am I allowing, which also underneath that, there's a lot of trust issues. So that's why we got to do our work on ourselves, because the more we can trust ourselves, the more we can trust others. And when we can trust the masculine to lead, we can receive. And when we're receiving, we're in our feminine, which actually becomes very attractive to the masculine. There's nothing more unattractive to the masculine energy. Whenever they go to lead, they could just get like block, wall, block, no. And then, when there's that trust that comes up, and I totally empathize because I have it, it's like, then the masculine is like being kind of pushed into, okay, I'm going to, where do you want to go? It's like, you don't want to trust me and where I want to take you. So where do you want to go? Now so here's the trick. Now because as long as you're being fully in the masculine and not letting the man or whoever be in the masculine, then that means they get into the feminine, right? And here's the tricky part. For the wounded part of us, if we have had wounds in the past as a woman, let's say, or a man, the feminine is having a person more in the feminine side. They're going with the flow, they're receiving, you're taking control and leadership. There's a safety to the ego, to the wound, to the inner child. It's like, oh, this person's not a threat to the ego because I get to control. And one of the ways the ego feels safe is through controlling. So when we attract someone who's so powerful and in their, sacred, divine, masculine, feminine balance, taking leadership, it might terrify the crap out of our egos. And I remember this moment where I had this realization. I was like, oh my God. Like I've been attracting a lot of like nurturing motherly types because it's safe. But it's important we ask the question, who am I listening to? Am I listening to my ego and my wounding, and I'm allowing the relationship to be led from that place? Or am I coming from my king and queen energy that goes, I deserve the best queen out there, and you guys deserve the best kings out there? Because with that, I remember, I remember going to this festival, and I remember seeing this woman who totally embodied this queen energy. And I could see my inner child going, whoa, women who are beautiful and powerful are a threat, because my first girlfriend broke my heart. She was beautiful and powerful, from how I perceived it. But then I was like, don't worry, little guy, I got you. And then when you put the ego and inner child in check and you love it and support and hold it, nurture it, then you can allow that other side of you, the fearless side, the higher self side, the king, the queen. And then I was like, I'm feeling drawn to this queen. I'm speaking to this queen. And it was beautiful. It's like something shifted in that moment. It's like the things that we're resisting the most, the things that are out of our comfort zone, those are the things we really want to we want to flirt with that. We want to flirt means just open yourself up to, okay, I did something there. I opened myself up. I created a new neurological pathway. I acted differently. I didn't listen to my ego. Just start playing in that area. So how can we receive more? So one of my favorite exercises here in Mexico, there's a lot of water caves. They call them cenotes, water caves. One of my favorite exercises is and if you guys have access to just a pool of water, just invite someone to hold you. So it's like one hand behind the neck and the other hand goes on the lower back, and the person's lying down. So either getting a massage is a super easy way to do it. When you're receiving a massage, it's a beautiful exercise to get you in your feminine. Because what are you doing when you're getting a massage? Hopefully you're just being. I was so resistant to this when I first started getting massages. I was like, work, go to massage. And I'm like, hey, tell me about your massage while I'm getting the massage. I'm like coaching them, mentoring them. So was I in my feminine? Not at all. Ideally, that becomes toxic. So it became toxic because there wasn't a balance between the masculine and feminine within my being. And ideally, you want to have that sacred union of the masculine energy and the feminine energy harmonized within your own being. Because when you come in whole and complete, you'll attract someone who's whole and complete, and we're in different balancing places. So it's actually very empowering for a woman to allow the man to be the provider. It doesn't mean you're going to give your power away. It just means you get to receive. And it means you're giving permission to the man to play their role. They want to open the door for you. When someone opens the door for you, fully receive it. Don't put your hand on the door. Walk through like a queen. Walk through like a king. Massages, beautiful. I do it ritualistically. I do it as a spiritual practice because it invites me to be present in the moment. I'm being held, I'm being supported, I'm being taken care of. I can receive now, right? You don't want to always be the giver, always be the doer. That's the masculine. You want to balance it. When do I get to replenish? When do I get to receive? The thing with the water, it's like my favorite thing to do. And we're doing a retreat here in Mexico. And I'm going to do my best to hire someone, or we'll just put you guys in pairs and share this beautiful exercise. And you're just floating in the water. So the water's holding you. Water feels very feminine because it's flow. You're being held. You're in the moment. I like to submerge my ears, so I'm not even here. So there's no sound. My eyes are closed. There's no distraction. I'm just fully in my body. And that's what ideally, just be aware of it when you're with a masculine. The more you can be, the more you can receive, the more you can be in your feminine, the more that you allow them to lead. Ask for what you want. The man wants nothing more than to. I remember being in a community. I was leading a men's circle and a woman was leading a women's circle. And I left the men's circle when we were done. I was like, hey, any notes? What's the general consensus? My Virgo mind loves the stats, Virgo rising. And then she was like, women were saying that they're not feeling supported by the men. And a lot of the boyfriends were in my men's circle. And I was like, really? Because the men were like, we would do anything for our women. So I learned then and there that women, there's a trauma of not knowing what they want and or not asking for what they want. So another very powerful exercise, and I do this in my workshops, in my Tantra workshops, and we'll be doing it at our Tantra retreat, is I call it get into your diva. So we would pair you guys up, and then the diva part, you get to exercise your diva. So your diva's like, I want you to massage my right shoulder. If there's already a judgment, like I'm being bossy or whatever, I want you to put more pressure. Can you use more pressure on my right shoulder? And if this is what most women do. It's like, hey, why complain? I'm getting a massage. So let that person do whatever they want. But it's like, no, get exactly what you want. And it translates into all areas of life. So it's like, can you put more pressure? Okay, can you do the same thing on the other side? Right? And you just get more and more comfortable asking for what you want. And the response, we ask the person doing that, the generic response is, thank you for asking for that. Because guess what? By saying thank you for asking for that, we're reprogramming the mind to go, wow, not only is it safe to ask for it, but I'm getting like appreciation and gratitude for expressing it. So it's like positive reinforcement. Trust issues, 100%, Heather. I totally get it. So here's the thing about trust issues is, like, whenever a client's about to work with me and they get to the point where I'm like, do you believe we can make these changes if we work together? And they go, yeah. I know my clients have trust issues because I have trust issues. So I never say, trust me. Or if they ever go, what do you think? I always bring it back. Can you reconnect with your heart right now? What does your heart say about moving forward? Because your heart knows. So it's a beautiful tool in relationships with trust issues. You want to tell your mind, I'm not blindly trusting someone. I'm trusting my intuition. And it's so much more complex than that, Heather, because Angel, because you can trust someone, let's say, when it comes to making food, or trust that they'll take the grocery shop, or trust that they're good with the budget. Like maybe we can, but maybe your partner or friends not good when it comes to time, not good when it comes to emotional vulnerability, whatever the case may be. So we're constantly like, we don't want to be those people from our, blindly fully trust everyone all the time, but we also don't want to be like, I don't trust anyone. So if your intuition goes, hey, I'm feeling that I can trust this person with this thing, great. But also we're almost like doing these tests in life. It's like, okay, before I would go like 100% all in and then realize, oh, okay, let's pull back. And now it's like, well, let me put in like 2-3%. Let's see if that works. Okay, that worked. Let's build off of that to 10%. I put in 10, reciprocate, and then it keeps growing. So it's really important when you're expressing your frustrations that you're just sharing the words. You're not, the worst thing you want to do is blame the person who's trying their best to be their best for you, right? So it's totally okay to go take responsibility for your emotions. I feel you can be with the most giving person on planet Earth, and you can still have a trauma of not feeling the reciprocation. How many people can relate to that? Right? I can be with the most giving partner, and if I'm not receiving what's available in the relationship, I can still go, hey babe, I just want to share what's coming up. Is it okay if I share? Yeah, okay. I just feel like I'm giving so much and I'm not receiving. So the worst thing we can do is take that personal. That's why it's very important when you're sharing in your communication, do your best to be in your heart and do your best to word things as I'm just feeling. This is my experience based on my trauma. I am feeling like I'm giving so much and I'm not receiving as much. It's like this feeling of an imbalance, or like, yeah, over giving, under receiving. So that way it's, you're taking ownership. I know I have this issue from before. The worst thing you can do is say, I'm giving so much and you don't give anything back in return. Like whenever you make general statements like you always, you never, it's like, I don't like to, I have certain rules when it comes to communicating. And that's one of my rules is don't say never, don't say always. Please bring it into what's this last thing that happened. If something happened today, let's not make it about, yeah, and your friend said the same thing. Now it's like a whole, they're all ganging up on us. you can still communicate in a safe way and go, just like, just one of my other rules, other than not saying always and never, is let's just, if we have an issue that just came up now, let's just address that one issue instead of making it so much more complicated and adding like 20 other things that all happen, right? So, hey, I just said something to you and you didn't respond to me. I felt ignored, as opposed to, are you ignoring me? You don't care what I have to say, right? So it's important. And if we're even if our ego immediately gets frustrated with our partner, oh my God, my partner doesn't see me, they don't hear me, they don't hold space for me, they're exhausted, they don't have time for me, they don't love me. Like all these wounds stem from inner child wounds. You know, was dad always there for you? Was dad always supportive and loving? Was dad absent? Was dad abusive? Was mom there for you? Was mom supportive and loving? Was she there for you when you needed her? So there's this concept of reparenting. So I'd like for us just to visualize in us right now. Like I remember once, this happens sometimes. This is why living in community is so healthy, because the healthy aspect of it is because in the past we had mom there, dad there, grandparents there, uncle, aunt, soul family, actual family. And there's so much support. I'm going to go get stuff. I'm getting something from hanging out with the guys. I'm getting something from hanging out with the women. I'm getting something from hanging out with my family. I'm getting something from hanging out with my kids. But now this new way of doing things, it's like, I want a partner who's going to provide me with all the things that fill all the holes in my soul. Like you're going to be my supply for everything. That's unhealthy. And we have to remember, we also are responsible to be mom to our inner child, dad to our inner child. And the more we can integrate more of mom and dad to our inner child, the less pressure it's going to be on the person outside of us. So I would love for you guys to share, what was your big takeaway from today's call? We spoke about love languages it was a radio show, so I'm not going to go there. We spoke about it on that call. We're sharing that replay on our newsletter, tarikbb.com. Okay, I could share a music video. I can share a poem that I wrote. It's really vulnerable about these kind of things, trust issues and walls and things like that. What would you guys like before we conclude? Warning, if I share the poem, I may end up crying. So what would you guys prefer? Okay. I would say that yes, it takes a village for us to be in this world. Never should we have one person who is our everything, 100%. Heather votes the poem. And Queen Dawn's like, tap in. I'm a poet as well. Beautiful, Denise. Awesome. All right, let's go for the poem, guys. I actually want to share both. All right, here we go. This is my confession. I'm sorry for not being able to open up fully to you. I'm sorry I hide behind my work. I'm sorry it takes me forever to respond to you. I'm sorry I do not make friendships a priority. I'm sorry I'm terrible with following up and nurturing our connection. I'm sorry that I don't pick up the phone and give you a call. I'm sorry I don't check in from time to time. What I haven't told you is I once was in love and thought we would be together forever. And one day she left and moved to another country, and I thought I'd be able to move on easily, but I was heartbroken and went into a deep, dark depression, isolated and alone. Food and alcohol and cigarettes were my friends. I once fell in love with my first girlfriend. I fell hard and deep and gave it my all. Weeks later, she says we need to break up because she's not able to focus on school, only to find out she got back with her ex behind my back. I once had a best friend. We knew each other since grade 10. He got me to start my first rap song. We recorded songs together. We lived together. We had some of the best days of our lives together. We had a falling out. Not even sure what it was about, but we haven't spoken since. And I haven't let anyone that close to me ever since. I once was married. We shared and created some magical times. We started our businesses at the same time. We honeymooned in Paris, and she met my parents. I spent Christmas with her mom and grandma. We moved in together weeks after falling in love. 4 years later, we have an argument, and she says she can't do this anymore, and we haven't spoken since. I've not been in a long-term relationship since, and this was 10 years ago. I've had 4 beautiful 1-year-long relationships with special people that I still think of and have love for. So what do I do? The thing I desire the most in life, having a solid feeling of love, of having that someone to connect with, to share my life with, to share my love with, is the very thing I'm terrified of opening up to. I've had some lovers over the years. I treasure every connection, and each one is special in their own way. But I want you to know, I am trying. I am opening myself up. I am putting myself out there. I am not giving up, despite the fact that I feel like an alien from a faraway planet trying to have a normal life, trying to find someone from my home planet or someone who understands me and accepts me for who I am, the good and the bad. I'm no angel, but I'm no demon either. Day by day, I've built strong walls to make sure I never get hurt again, and they're all falling down one by one. I feel naked, vulnerable, like one hurtful dart thrown my way will burst this heart of mine, but I'm willing to risk it. I believe love is worth fighting for, is worth loving for. And yes, real love comes from within, I know. And that is an ongoing commitment, taking it slow, day by day, moment by moment, trying to be whole when I feel broken open. Thank you. All of you who pray for me, who love me, who care about me, who connect with me, who support me. Thank you, God, for your love. It's always been there in every moment of despair. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that's an older poem that I wrote. Love to know how you felt hearing that. Beautiful, vulnerable. Thanks, Denise. Wow. Heather, beautiful. Awesome. So guys, if you enjoyed this kind of information and you want to dive deeper, we're doing an in-person retreat, myself and Kareen, who's a Tantra practitioner. Thanks, Melissa. Appreciate it. Anita, I moved you to tears. Your words hit chord in my soul. That's beautiful. Romeo Genesis on Instagram. Thank you so much for asking. I have not recorded the poem yet. I'm in the process of putting together all the poems so I can record them. I'm actually resisting the crap out of that because my first album ever was a poetry album. Oh, crafty mom. Every time I see your poetry, I just want to give you a safe hug. That's beautiful. Romeo, I needed to hear that. I'm so glad. Phenomenal. Thank you. Beautiful expose. Thank you. Awesome, guys. Thank you. I mean, we're in Pisces season. And so the latest music video. So in my rap songs, it's very like fight the system, indigo child, kind of like rebellious, fiery, Aries songs, anthems, protest music. And the last song that I recorded is called Me, Myself, and I. And it's a song about mental health, depression, anxiety, spiritual warfare, entity attacks. And I've never been I could be easily vulnerable in a poem, but with rap, it's easier for me to hide behind, like a more aggressive, it's safer way to share myself. But with this one, I allowed myself to be as Piscean as I can. And we shot it underwater in a cave with water, and there's a mermaid. So it's like super Pisces all over it. But yeah, I'll definitely be recording those poems. Thank you. And let me, so on Instagram, I'm sorry, I can't share my screen. So you guys are going to need to move to YouTube, type in Tariq BB, subscribe there to check out the video. It's not even out yet. But I want to see if I can share it with you guys here. So let me know if this works. And then we'll conclude. Oh yeah, let me share. So for the Tantra retreat, if anyone here is interested in spending 5 days with myself and Corrine, a Tantra practitioner, to manifest your ultimate soulmate, take your relationship to the next level, take your sexuality to the next level. We were going to do it April 19th to 23rd, but now we're moving it to May 3rd to May 7th here in between Playa and Tulum, which is close to Cancun, Mexico. So the link for that, we'll go over this. You'll be hearing more and more of this. But for now, I'm just curious if anyone's like potentially interested. And I'll just put the link for you guys here to check out. Okay. Let me know if that worked for you. So it should be Tantra and Abundance, because we're focusing on abundance and we're focusing on Tantra. So tarikbb.com/Tantra Abundance. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Okay, share screen. Where is that? Yeah, it used to be right here before. Sharing screen. Present, maybe? Present slides. Share screen. There we go. Select window on screen. Okay, entire screen. StreamYard screen. I'm not sure which one. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. Tantra and Abundance Retreat. Again, the dates we're going to change to May 3rd to May 7th. You can save your spot right there. These are some of the challenges. Lost your magic, your spark, your passion, overwhelmed, stress, not experiencing your sexual bliss, pleasure, shame around sensuality, sexuality, desire for deep intimacy, align with your purpose, gifts, and talents, and you desire to align with your purpose, align with a soul mate, soul family, experience sensual bliss or bliss on all levels, thrive from your gifts and abilities. Okay, what's included? You've got 4 nights of accommodation at a beautiful resort. You've got all-day workshops. You've got amazing, healthy, or orgasmic meals, not just organic, and some gifts, and myself and Corrine. And you've got early bird rates out now, and we're just keeping it to 10. We know we're going to max out as soon as we put this out, but I wanted to give you guys the heads up. So there's a payment plan of 1111 in 2 payments, or you can pay in full for 2222. We also have a special rate for couples where you save $400 by buying it together. And plenty more info to come. Okay. Was my screen... I want to share the video with you guys, but I always feel like it doesn't sound right when I share it. So I'm just going to invite you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just type in Tariq Bibi. You'll find my YouTube channel there, and we're going to put it out for tomorrow. It should be out there tomorrow. The song's called Me, Myself, and I. Hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed your time here. Thank you so much for joining me. And to conclude, let's take all our energy back at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull all your energy back and ground it into your body. Again, let's take another deep belly breath. And release. Okay, I'm going to actually... So IG fam, it's been a pleasure. Hop onto YouTube so you can potentially see the video I'll be sharing now. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you soon. All right, guys. It's just me and you now. You have all my attention. Let's see if this works, guys. I'm going to see if this works. So share a video file, maybe. And it's called Me, Myself, and I right there. How's that sounding?
Songs about mental health. Something we're struggling with now more than ever.
I'm all alone with my thoughts tonight. I'm feeling high, getting lost tonight. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight. Wish you were here on the other side, but now it's me and myself and I. All alone.
Does it sound okay?
Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight.
Check it. The words I've never said, the words I will regret. The feeling of being alone, rejected, feeling neglect. Why am I being such a threat? I feel like such a mess, like there's an angel on my right, but a demon on my left. Scream it off the chest, I'll do my very best. Keep going, I'm infinite, my spirit will never rest. Give me your best guess or give me some direction. I came from the Middle East and ended up in the West End. Feeling of searching for home, feeling like something is wrong. Feeling so fucking strong, but feeling so lost and alone. Feeling so vulnerable, feeling so raw and exposed. I need to connect, even if it's over the phone.
My thoughts tonight. I'm feeling high, getting lost tonight. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight. Wish you were here on the other side, but now it's me and myself and I. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight.
Yeah. Depression, anxiety, I know the evil eye in me. As below, so above, only I can see. The darkest thing on earth lives inside of me. I made peace with the beast that only I can be. I face all of the demons that keep on fighting me. The man in the mirror, my only true enemy. And the irony, the spiritual war has no end. The more that we fight it, the bigger that it gets. Be you and speak the truth, that is the biggest threat. These Skeksis wanna suck all of our innocence. I say we rise up and start asking these questions. I represent the collective, a warrior with an objective.
My thoughts tonight. I'm feeling high, getting lost tonight. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight. Wish you were here on the other side, but now it's me and myself and I. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight.
Yeah, found ways to cope and survive, but we aren't here to hide. We're here to rise and feel alive, now is our time. Monsters stuck in my mind, the bigger they come, the harder the fight. I'm insignificant, but I'm also larger than life. My body's activation of light protects me at night. My pain body got me into several fights. It's a brand new day and I got a lust for life. A spiritual activist, fists in the air fighting for our rights.
My thoughts tonight. I'm feeling high, getting lost tonight. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight. Wish you were here on the other side, but now it's me and myself and I. All alone with my thoughts tonight. Thoughts tonight, thoughts tonight.
It's been
mental health thing is a serious problem. We need to support each other as we move through this, especially during these times that we're in. So if you know someone going through it, reach out. Reach out and touch faith. Awesome. That was the official first glance at the music video. So please help us reach all the people out there who are struggling with mental health, addiction, anxiety, depression, mental health, entity attacks, all sorts of stuff. So you can find it on YouTube. It's on Spotify under Indigo Prophet. And thanks, Melissa. Appreciate it. Love to help. I would love for you guys to check it out and for it to be a soundtrack in your life. It has a lot of healing energy in it. Infinity healings to help with all those areas. Potent. Thank you. And would love your support in helping me get it out there so it makes an impact on people who can use it right now more than ever. I love you guys. If any of you are on this call feeling like, you know what, I could really use some help with my life purpose, with my money situation, with manifesting something, with my relationships, please go to tarikbb.com and you'll find a healing form there. Or you can just email us at support@tarikbb.com. And we've got some amazing things coming soon. Stay tuned. Love you guys. See you next time.